what's the truth? Like the devil knows who God is.
Yep. Yep.
The devil knows how powerful God is, and
Yes, he
even he's
does.
scared.
Yes, he
Even
does. Yes, he
he's
does.
scared.
But he wants you to think that he's not powerful. He wants
That's
you to
crazy.
think that.
He
But
wants to think that God's not real. That's ooh,
yeah,
'cause that used to trip me up a lot. Like I was just like, God not real. Like I don't think so. Like y'all be telling me about this guy, but where is he? I'm serious. This is
mhm.
how I was in church because I would just question like, where is
That's why
he?
I
Is
pray
he
that
real?
everybody. That's why I pray that everybody have a spiritual experience, because that's what
Mm,
changed my life. I want that everybody have a spiritual experience with the Lord to the
what
point
was
where
your
they
spiritual
cannot.
experience?
Well, it helped you, even though it was scary.
What was it?
It helped you wake up and say, "Hey, I need to handle this spiritually and go on a fast." And you
Oh
did.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That was terrible.
That was a scary one, but it worked.
It
Sometimes it
do.
takes that though, you know.
Yeah.
Fortunately, it took, you know, me almost losing my son for me to have a experience for me to wake up.
Mm.
When he got burnt, that was a wake up call, you know. Sometimes it takes something like that. Um,
Was your spiritual life like the same before your son got hurt, or was you like it was like you're kind of in, kind of out, and then
I love the Lord, and I was intrigued by him, and thank you, Lord, for the things that you're doing for us. Yes, thank you, God. But when that happened to my son, it's like I went into beast mode overdrive. Like, I gotta change this now. We gotta change this now, Lord. Come on, we gotta change my life now. I cannot go through this past of just getting by, getting along just to get along no more. I can't do this no more. Enough is enough.
mm,
Okay. I know you said that I'm supposed to be the visionary missionary on the field to help God's people rise and elevate. Come on, it's time to start working on this now. What I need to do, Lord? I'm ready. I surrender. I surrender, Lord. It was no more playing around. Well, I was doing my little curvy world. Yes, I was in a joy state, but I was feel like I was just kind of playing around, using my gifts and didn't even know I had a really good gift for storytelling and writing stories and just going into my imagination to be able to write out that whole world of my little curvy
mm,
world. But it was time to start handling my big world now. Wake up, wake up, get to work. It's time to get to work.
yeah,
No more
mm.
playtime. Time to get to work. Not saying it's not a time and a place to do that, I'll still do that probably, in the future, but it's like it's time to get activated.
So
Time to activate beast mode.
so you said like you knew that you were supposed to be the visionary missionary on the field. Like
Mm-hmm.
when did
He
this
told me that.
like when like during your 40-day fast or but way before that?
He told me way before that. He told me back in 2019 when my best friend passed and I went on a
Mm.
3-day fast because I was grieving real bad. And I knew I had to go on. We just moved into this apartment and my husband job fell through. So I was like, Lord, I need a breakthrough, What do I need to do? So when I did that fast for 3 days, I started I woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning rapping. And I was
What happened?
rapping this song. I'm a
Like
visionary, missionary on the field to help God's people rise and elevate. And I just remember listening to Miles Monroe, and he was saying that we all have a purpose and we all have a gift. And I've been listening to him a lot. And then that's when I heard that in the spirit, and I started rapping it when I was waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning. And I wrote it down, and I'm like, okay, okay. So what's more to this? So that's when it started, like around October 2019, right before the pandemic. So I got really excited about that. And I was like, okay, I'm going to be helping people arise and elevate. I remember all the personal development that I did with Earl Nightingale and Bob Proctor and those things. And that's when I was like, okay, well, I'm going to start a YouTube and be Coach Lady Tay. And that's when I started making those videos of that. And then like the sixth one, that last one, I was talking about our gifts. It's wicked to hide our talents. I felt convicted while I was teaching that. And I was like, oh Lord, I just felt the heaviness in my spirit. I was like, Lord, what's going on? What's wrong? And God told me, those who wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. So he was telling me to wait. So that's when I stopped making the videos, and I just stopped making the videos for a while. And my friend Sabrina, um, I showed her my work that I was doing with my little curvy world on the side. She said, "You need to start sharing that." So I started sharing that on Instagram. So like for a whole 2 years, I kind of went through like um a dormant phase where I knew I had that mandate, but I just was like, I'm just gonna do my little curvy world. We just go have fun through the pandemic. I'm not gonna worry about COVID and stuff like that. So I kind of put myself in a situation where I was entertaining people and I was making my little curvy world. And I kind of went into, how you were saying you don't like how um people say it's okay to be big and beautiful and stuff like that. Remember how we was talking about that? Well, I kind of got into that and was doing that. But deep down
Mhm.
inside, I knew that wasn't right. You know,
Okay.
I was having the big girl curvy world. I was like, my little curvy world, we curvy, just making it like it's okay to be like that. But deep down inside, I knew that wasn't right.
Mm-mm.
So, I was making stuff saying, curvy and proud and stuff like that. And, I had a big following that would watch my show, and I was creating things and creating the whole dioramas and and the rooms and stuff in front of them and showing them how to make stuff. And I love how I felt teaching. And God was saying, "You're a teacher." So clearly we see now I am a teacher. But it was sort of like he was letting me have like a little playground where I'm discovering all these gifts and finding my voice. And I was finding my voice and being able to be comfortable behind the camera, laughing and joyful and making jokes and stuff. And people used to come on and be very entertained with me. But then when my son got hurt, I tried to go back and it just didn't feel right. I just felt like there's more to me than this, you know, because I was thinking, am I supposed to be the next um Mr. Rogers' neighborhood or something like that, something
Roger
like that. I
Neighbor.
was like, am I supposed to be the next, Mr. Rogers' neighborhood where I'm just creating these things on the air and just have a show like that? And I'm like, I put that on the vision board. I said, maybe that's what I'm supposed to be doing, spreading joy that way. But then I was like, no, something not right. When my son was in the hospital for 31 days, I heard Kingdom Queen talk, but then I was like, Kingdom Queen talk. Hmm. I like the idea, but I was like, me? Nah, Kingdom Queen talk. Well, So I went back after my son came home and started a show called Boxology Building because I was looking at the buildings in the hospital room. I feel like I went through a rebirth process there because I was born at that hospital. And I'm like, I'm here at
Mm-hmm.
this hospital with my son, this same hospital. And like I told you, I felt like I died when he almost died. The old me did die. So, I did a lot of fasting and praying while I was in the hospital. Back then I was vegan too, by the way. But I listened to those praise and worship a lot, especially when he went to surgery. He had like 6 surgeries while we was in there. Keep in mind this was during COVID. We never got
Oh,
sick. We never got sick.
wow.
But it was lots of people in there that were sick. So God kept us. And I just kept thinking in the back of my mind, Kingdom Queen talk. And so when I came back and started doing boxology building, I showed them how to make a diorama with just one cardboard instead of taking up a whole room full of cardboard. Um, I just one day I said, y'all, I gotta take a sabbatical. And then when I took the sabbatical, that's when I went on the 3-day fast and I talked to the advisor. I talked to an advisor with Bob Proctor's company. And I told her about my story, and she said I need to divorce myself from my story. And when she said that, it just triggered me. I was like, I do need to divorce myself from the old story. I am doing this like a pity party type thing. I was like, I am pitying myself. I need to stop. I need to change. I am changing. That's when I wrote I am change in my journal. And then um I did a 3-day fast, and that's when I heard from the Lord saying that I need to continue to fast and I need to pay for that coaching with Latoya Okia, which is another coach that said we need to do something about our health. So she started August 1st, but I didn't go to none of her sessions. The fact that I paid the money was like a contract that made me do it. Like I
Mm-hmm.
paid my money, I'm gonna do it. Okay, so August 1st, that's when I started fasting. So I go more into details in the book about the whole process, but it was a lot that led me to that point. And
Mm-hmm.
I didn't look back after that. That's when I did
Wow.
the 40-day fast and I just kept going and I just kept going. And they kept messaging me like, are you gonna come back? And I was like, I don't know. I don't know when I'm gonna come back. I still ain't went back.
And when you say you were like, I'm big, I'm curvy, and I'm proud. Like we're not, like, we're not supposed to be proud. That's the thing. That's
Nope.
the problem with the pride movement and all
Yep.
that. We're not supposed to be
Yep.
proudful people, and that's the
Yep.
problem because it
Yep.
it it,
It
it
was the
causes you
people
not to
pleasing
be humble.
inside of me. There was the people
Yeah.
inside of me trying to get
Yeah.
on their good side and like, oh, look at all these friends I got. I'm gonna make them happy and say, yeah, we curvy and proud, and all that. No,
Yeah.
we're not supposed to be curvy. How you gonna be happy and curvy and sick? We embracing the generational curses.
And
We
especially in Black
supposed to
Lives
be
Matter,
proud
right?
about. We supposed to be proud about embracing the generational curse of being obese.
Mm-hmm.
Look at how silly that is.
Mm-hmm.
We supposed to be proud of that. That's not an accomplishment,
No.
you know. So
Because
yeah,
you do live passively when you are big. You live passively. Like you're not living. Like you just kind of are
that's
there.
well, that was me. I was living a passive life. I
And
was
it
living
worked for you.
passively,
Mm-hmm.
being swayed like the tumbleweed. That's why I wrote that in my journal. I was living a lie. I was literally living a lie and living someone else's life. That wasn't my life. That wasn't the life that I was designed to have.
Mm-hmm.
This is the life that I'm designed to have, walking in my purpose. helping other
Hmm.
people finally realize that we need to wake up, you know.